Welcome back! On this latest vlog I'm going back to the Kamen Rider belts again. As with the two belts from Gaim, the Sengoku driver and the Genesis driver, today's entry, the double driver, also benefits from having two separate sound channels. Now, in the case of this one, none of the electronics are in the belt itself. It has basically all the mechanical parts, bits that flip out, bits that move, internal things that when you open these they press buttons. But the actual sounds come from the collectibles, the Gaia memories. Here using Cyclone and Joker, with their name sounds, from the little buttons on the front. And these where all the actual sounds and lights come from. The belt itself is just something to hold them. But also the speakers stick out the top and the lights are collected basically in this sort of reflective, prismatic sort of channel underneath. Showing what happens with just one Gaia memory. So if I start off with Cyclone, silver tipped one goes in the silver side of the driver. Once it goes in, you go into the standby sound and the light underneath starts to pulse. When you open the driver, it hits the button on the Gaia memory and Gaia memory announces itself, plays a little jingle, shines a little light, which goes into this area here. Again, closing it, has a sort of powering down sound, and there's also a separate removal sound where the light goes off again. Using Joker, the gold tip goes into the gold side, works pretty much the same, goes in place. You get the pulsing standby sound, a pulsing light underneath again. When you open the driver, so again you've sort of got the activation sound, you've got it announcing the name of itself and then giving it half of the jingle. But the name and the sound are a little bit later. The way this basically works, you put the two together, first one side and the other, you've got both sounds pulsing together, opening them up, as you can see, the lights are mixed together in the lower chamber. Now, the main advantage of, again, having the two separate sounds is, like with the Sengoku and Genesis drivers, changing the collectible changes the sound. However, there's two collectibles, the Gaia memories, so as two at a time can go into the belt, you'll always get two different sounds. So if I swap out Cyclone and Joker for one of the other pairs, Luna and Trigger, you will see that in this case, with the sounds, each side again has its own individual theme jingle. So, and again, as these both sets are set pairs, that's sort of what the main forms in the show use. But again, like in the show, take out one from one side, put in another one of that size sticks. Each form has its own individual combination. And again, just like the Genesis and Sengoku drivers, because you've got two separate sound channels going, when you're removing parts and changing them around, all the sounds can sort of overlap. So you can have one playing a normal sound, one playing its removal sound, another one playing its I've just switched it on sound, and you get all these sounds playing off each other, overlapping, again, like they do in the show. So it's not kind of, oh, this thing that sounds nice and fluid in the show is suddenly, well, we've got part A, part B, part C. Because, you know, as you would have seen in the Tokyo Changer one, as soon as you've got one sound device, the sounds which can flow together in, you know, in the show that the toy comes from, kind of go, well, here's this part. Now we can play this part. Now we can play this part. And you get this slight disconnect. Whereas with devices like the Double Driver, the Sengoku driver, the Genesis driver, anything with two sound chips, you can have, well, this sound starts, but before it ends, you've got this other sound that takes over. And again, because of each one having the lights underneath, you get them able to mix together the lights as well as the sounds. So for a device which actually doesn't have any of the electronics at all in the belt unit, you get this great potential for, you know, different combinations of light and sound, and all it is changing the Gaia memories. And, you know, they were the series' main collectible. The original release of the Double Driver just came with 4 of the 6 main Gaia memories. The version I got, which I believe was the super best version, came with all 6. So even just with the core 6, you get access to all 9. 9? No, it won't be 9. 8? 2 to the power of 3. All 8 combinations. Maybe it is 9. Never quite remember. And of course, the one time that I really forget is when I'm on camera. But that's the thing, you get all of the combinations just from having 3 sets of 2 sticks. Well, next and currently last on the Noisy Toys section for now will be a final look at the Sengoku driver and the lock seeds, and the what happens when you change the rider indicators on the front of the belt or put in the Genesis core from the Genesis driver. And then I've pretty much run out of the main Noisy toys that I've got. But knowing me, I'll buy others. There's other things I want to talk about, more anime to chat about, TV shows, music I listen to, maybe even 1 or 2 things if I get anything shot at MCM London coming up this weekend. If there's anything worth shooting, I don't know. But we'll see. But for now, see ya.